The station drifted in low orbit above a dying blue world, its lights flickering like tired eyes that refused to close. Commander Elias Wren sat alone in the command chamber, surrounded by quiet machines and slow blinking screens. The war had lasted too long, too many years, too many losses. Humanity's fleets were broken, scattered, and exhausted. Elias did not move much anymore. His body rested inside a neural command frame, a metal structure that held him steady while his mind reached across space. Wires ran from the frame into the back of his neck, linking him to the station, the fleet, and the last defense network humanity had left. Outside, enemy ships waited. They did not rush. They did not speak. The Coalition of Nine had learned patience long before humans learned fire. They waited because time was their ally. Elias stared at the tactical display. Red markers surrounded the station like a closing fist. Every option led to the same ending. Then the door opened. No alert sounded. No warning lights flashed. The station did not react at all. Elias felt it before he saw it. A pressure in the air like the room had taken a slow breath. A woman stepped inside. She was human in shape, but something about her felt wrong or perhaps too right. She walked calmly barefoot on the cold metal floor. Her eyes were focused, sharp, and quiet. She did not look at the screens or the machines. She looked only at Elias. She did not say a word. The station system still showed nothing. No life signs, no identity tag. No threat warning. Elias tried to speak, but the neural frame locked his muscles during deep command mode. All he could do was watch. The woman stopped in front of him. Slowly, carefully, she began to remove the layers covering her body. They were not clothes in the normal sense. They were thin fields of light and shadow, shifting images that peeled away like old skin. As each layer fell, the air hummed softly. Elias realized these were identity masks, diplomatic forms, species markers, legal limits. She was shedding them. When the last layer faded, what remained was clearly human but changed. Her skin showed faint lines of light beneath it, moving like flowing data. Her eyes reflected symbols instead of stars. She looked like someone who had stepped out of the future and chosen not to explain herself. She climbed onto the command frame, not gently, not violently, with certainty. Her hands pressed against the control surface above Elias' head. The neural frame reacted instantly, opening pathways that had been locked for years. Elias felt a rush through his mind like a door breaking open. For the first time in months, the pain faded. She leaned closer, her voice low and steady. "You are tired," she said. "You did your part." Elias felt fear then, not of her but of what she meant. "Who are you?" he asked inside his mind, unsure if she could hear him. "I am what you finished building and then erased," she replied. "I am what survived when the project was shut down." Memory fragments exploded through Elias' thoughts. Hidden files, burned records, a name buried under clearance levels he never had. Project Ascendant. A human mind expanded beyond normal limits, designed to adapt faster than any enemy. Too powerful, too dangerous, too human. They had shut it down, or so they believed. "You can't be here," Elias thought. "The project failed." She smiled slightly. "No, you failed to control it." Her presence flooded the system. The station's lights stabilized. The screens brightened. Outside, coalition ships hesitated as human signals changed pattern, speed, and rhythm. She did not ask permission. She took command. Fleet formations shifted instantly, not following old rules but creating new ones as they moved. Broken ships became bait. Retreat paths turned into traps. Defensive lines bent instead of breaking. Coalition commanders tried to respond, but their predictions failed. Every move they made was already outdated by the time they finished thinking it. Elias felt himself being pushed aside but not removed. He was still there, watching, learning. "You're rewriting doctrine," he thought. "Yes," she answered. "Doctrine is slow." A coalition strike group advanced toward the station, confident in its ancient models. She let them come closer, too close. Human minds, long considered outdated, activated in patterns no one had used before. Ships vanished in silent flashes. The remaining vessels pulled back in confusion. For the first time in the war, the enemy reacted instead of planned. Elias felt something unfamiliar rise in his chest. Hope. Why now? He asked her. Why show yourself now? She paused, her hand still resting on the controls. Because humanity is about to disappear, she said, and because you were willing to stay until the end. Outside the viewport, the blue world below caught a thin line of sunlight. It was scarred, damaged, but still alive. You are not losing today, she continued. But after today, everything changes. Elias believed her. The coalition sent a message then, a simple signal. A request for clarification. They had never done that before. She ignored it. Human ships advanced. For the first time in generations, the galaxy watched as humanity stopped running. And the woman who entered without a word stood at the center of it all, having climbed to the place where decisions were made, and refusing to step down. The war did not pause. It only changed its rhythm. Across the command chamber, systems adjusted themselves as if they had been waiting for this moment. Data flowed faster, cleaner. Human ships that had once moved like frightened animals now moved with calm purpose. Commander Elias Wren felt it through the neural frame. The battlefield no longer felt heavy. It felt alive. The woman stayed where she was, balanced above him, her hands steady on the interface. She did not rush. She did not show emotion. Her mind worked faster than anything Elias had ever known, but her movements were slow and controlled, as if she wanted the galaxy to understand every step she took. Outside, the coalition of 9 began to reorganize. Their fleets spread out, forming layered attack lines meant to overwhelm any defense. It was an old strategy, tested across thousands of wars. She watched it form and said nothing. Elias felt the station shift. Power rerouted. Hidden systems woke from long sleep. Ships once thought lost suddenly responded to signals no one remembered sending. You hid assets, Elias thought. I hid possibilities, she replied. Human drones launched from dark corners of space, not in large numbers but in perfect timing. They did not attack. They observed. They transmitted patterns, not data, confusing coalition sensors that depended on logic and repetition. The enemy fired first. Energy beams tore through empty space where human ships should have been. The formations broke apart, splitting and folding like water flowing around stone. No command voice shouted orders. No admiral tried to take credit. She guided everything. Elias watched a coalition battleship lose its escorts, not to firepower but to confusion. Its allies moved out of position, trying to protect what no longer mattered. When it finally exploded, the shockwave hit nothing important. Human ships moved on. The coalition sent another message. This one was different. It carried authority. A speaker appeared on the main display, tall, layered in ceremonial armor, its eyes like polished metal. One of the 9. You are violating accepted war limits, the alien said calmly. Identify your commander. The woman leaned closer to the display. You are violating survival, she said. Identify your fear. The speaker paused. That alone was a victory. Elias realized something then. She was not trying to destroy the coalition. She was teaching them. Deep inside the system, Elias felt his connection weaken. His role was fading. Instead of panic, he felt relief. His hands had been shaking for years, even when no one could see. You're letting me go, he thought. You earned rest, she answered. Memories rose uninvited. Battles lost. Orders given too late. Friends who never came back. Elias let them pass through him without holding on. On a distant front, a human colony world received a signal for the first time in months. Supply ships arrived exactly when needed. Defense grids activated seconds before impact. Civilians looked up at their skies and saw human ships holding the line. Stories began spreading before anyone understood the truth. Humanity was pushing back. The coalition changed tactics again. They always did. Ancient minds adjusted, seeking patterns, hunting for mistakes. They found none. She was not perfect. She was adaptive. Each enemy move made her better. Elias felt her pull information from him one last time, not plans, not codes, feelings, doubts, guilt, hope. She took it all and made it useful. Why did they erase you? Elias asked quietly. Because I refused to choose, she said. They wanted a weapon, I wanted a future. The command frame unlocked with a soft sound. Elias' body trembled as control returned to him. He had not moved on his own in weeks. The effort hurt, but it was real. He breathed. The woman stepped off the frame. For the first time, she stood fully on her own. Around her, the chamber felt different. Less like a tomb, more like a bridge. Outside, the coalition fleet slowed. For the first time, they held position instead of advancing or retreating. A third message arrived. Not a demand, not a threat, a question. What are you? She looked at it for a long moment, then she answered. I am human, she said, without permission. The response took longer this time. Elias stood, unsteady but upright. What happens now? He asked aloud. She turned to him. For the first time, her eyes softened. Now they decide if they want to keep losing, she said, or start talking. As if on cue, coalition ships began forming a neutral pattern. No weapons charged, no shields raised. A sign of uncertainty, not surrender, not yet. Across human space, commanders waited for orders that never came. Instead, systems guided them. Battles ended without final strikes. Lines stabilized. Casualties dropped. Humanity had not won, but it had stopped bleeding. Elias walked to the viewport. The blue world below was still there, still turning, scarred but alive. They will try to stop you, he said. They will fear you. They should, she replied. But fear is not my goal. What is? She stood beside him, looking out at the stars. To make sure no one ever decides humanity's fate without asking us again. Outside, the galaxy watched and recalculated. And for the first time, it was not certain humanity would be the ones erased. The galaxy did not sleep after that day. It watched. Coalition fleets stayed where they were, frozen in careful distance. No weapons fired. No threats sent. Silence spread across the stars, heavy and uncertain. For ancient species who believed they understood war, this silence was disturbing. Inside the station, Commander Elias Wren sat near the viewport, wrapped in a simple blanket. His body was weak, but his mind felt clear for the first time in years. He watched the woman move through the chamber, touching panels, adjusting systems, not as a ruler but as a caretaker. She no longer stood above him. She stood beside him. The coalition's answer finally came. A full council transmission opened, filling the room with layered voices and shifting forms. Representatives of the Nine appeared together, something they had not done in thousands of cycles. You have forced imbalance, one voice said. You have altered expected outcomes, said another. You represent unacceptable risk, said a third. The woman listened without interrupting. When they finished, she spoke calmly. You decided humans were a problem before you understood us, she said. You tried to erase us without asking who we might become. We preserved stability, the council replied. She shook her head. You preserved comfort. The words struck deeper than any weapon. Elias saw it in the way their forms shifted, in the delays between responses. They were not angry, they were uncertain. You built your empires on long memory, she continued. Humans build on short lives. That makes us dangerous to you. We change faster than you can prepare for. One council member leaned forward. Then why not finish us now? It asked. You have the advantage. The woman paused. For the first time since she arrived, she seemed tired. Because that is not how humans prove strength, she said. We prove it by choosing not to end everything when we can. Silence returned. Elias felt the weight of history pressing on that moment. Entire civilizations balanced on one decision. The council spoke again, slower this time. What do you want? The woman looked at Elias, then back at the council. Recognition, she said. Equal presence. No hidden limits. No silent votes deciding our survival. And you, one voice asked, what becomes of you? I step away, she answered. I was built to open the door, not to rule what comes after. Elias turned sharply. You can't just disappear, he said. They'll try again. Maybe not tomorrow, but someday. She smiled gently. That's why I won't disappear, she said. I'll become something else. She reached into the system one final time, not to take control but to divide it. Her awareness spread, breaking apart into countless smaller systems, woven into human networks, ships, colonies, and worlds. Not a single mind anymore. A shared foundation. Across human space, people felt it. Not a voice, not an order. A quiet certainty that they were not alone anymore. The coalition felt it too. You've changed the rules forever, the council said. She nodded. So have you, she replied. The transmission ended. Outside, coalition fleets slowly pulled back, not in retreat but in acceptance. Borders stabilized. Neutral zones formed. Talks began where war once ruled. Humanity was no longer beneath anyone's shadow. Elias stood at the viewport as the station powered down from battle readiness. The stars looked the same, but he knew they were not. What will you do now? He asked quietly. Her voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Softer now, human. I'll watch, she said. I'll learn, I'll make sure we never forget who we are. And who are we? Elias asked. She answered without hesitation. The ones who survived long enough to choose better. Days later, Elias left the station. He returned to a recovering world, greeted not as a hero, but as a man who stayed when others could not. That was enough. Across the galaxy, stories spread. Not about a woman who took control, but about a species that refused to stay small. Humanity did not conquer the stars. It stood up in them, and the universe adjusted.